Welcome to the Yolanda Neely Show. I am so excited. We have a special event that's coming here to the Golden Isles area, and it's called the IGBO Worldwide Festival. And I have some special guests with me. They're going to tell us a lot about what the history of IGBO and how significant this is going to be here in our community. And I guess who wants to jump out first? Who wants to start? Mr. Davis, you want to start first? In fact,
Yes,
let's do this.
I'll be glad to happy. I'll be glad and happy
Yes.
to start off.
Okay.
My name is Sidney Davis. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. The name you pronounce as Igbo because that's how it looks,
Mm-hmm.
but the G is sort of silent,
Oh, okay.
so it's Igbo,
Igbo. Okay.
and the emphasis is on the O. Igbo.
Igbo.
Yes, I have an Igbo name
Mm-hmm.
that was given to me when I went to Igbo land in 2012. That name is Eluamuno. It is an Igbo name that means he is home, or he has come home. I was the first Black American of Igbo descent to make my matriation or repatriation back to Igbo land in 2012. Since that time, I've been leading others of Igbo descent to Igbo land to experience what I experienced when I went. And the person or the royal person who, or the king that gave me, His Majesty, the king that gave me my name, he will be coming to this festival that we're having in Brunswick. Brunswick is going to be the scene of a massive descent of Igbos from Igbo land and from around the Igbo diaspora, from around the world. The Igbos from around the world are going to be coming to this festival. This is an annual festival that we usually have in Virginia, but this year we're having it in Igbo Landing because, or the site of Igbo Landing, or the area of Igbo Landing, because this is the 220th anniversary of that event that happened in 1803, where we had a boat of Igbos who were taken captive off the coast of what we call Nigeria today, but it was called the Bight of Biafra. They were taken from that place and brought to the New World and ended up in Dunbar Creek in St. Simon's Island. When they found what their condition was going to be enslaved, they made a defiant act of resistance by turning around and going back into the water and sacrificed their lives, what is called the first Freedom March in American history.
Wow.
They sacrificed their lives and drowned themselves rather than become slaves. And so we are here to commemorate that event. Like I say, it's the 220th anniversary, and we're going to be celebrating Igbo culture and art at the same time.
Okay.
So that's briefly who I am and what we're doing in Brunswick. I'm going to let our president, the president of the Council of the Igbo States of America in Americas, who is here with us, James Ubeke Umekwa. I'm going to let him tell you about CISA and what CISA does and what we're going to be doing at this festival. And then I'll come back after he's finished.
Okay. Mr. James, I told you I'm going to let you talk. I'm not going to do your last name.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having us. My name is James Obuka Umekwe. And thank you, Brother Sidney, Iruomono, and thank you, Jessica. Yes, the Council of Igbo States in Americas, which I am the president, is a non-profit organization. It's an umbrella Igbo organization that is registered in Georgia. And what that means, the Igbo states reflects all the states in Nigeria that are core Igbo-speaking states. Nigeria has about 36 states, but we mainly recognize about 7 of them as the core Igbo states that speaks Igbos as their major language, not just language, but tradition, the culture, the heritage. So that is how we got that Council of Igbo States in America. So we have been in existence here in the US for a very long time. So what we do is actually promote Igbo language, culture, heritage. We do as much as possible to preserve that culture. And the way we do that is by holding festivals, annual festivals every year. And when we hold the festivals, we make it worldwide because our brothers and sisters, the African Americans of Igbo descent, are always in attendance. We have people that come from the Caribbean countries, not just being an Igbo descendant, but wherever you are, if you love arts and culture, we always invite them to be there. We also have our royal kings that comes from Nigeria when we have these events. Basically, we also do reconnection and the naming ceremony, which means those who have done their DNA tested and they are Nigerians and they are Igbos. We use that opportunity to reconnect with them and we do a naming ceremony. So in this upcoming event, we have probably close to 100 African Americans, a lot of them coming from the North Carolina area that are DNA tested and Igbo descendants. On that day, we'll be having a reconnection. We'll be giving them their Igbo names that they can identify. And the one good thing about when we give Igbo name is we always have the belief that there is a lot goes with your name. Your identity, who you are, in most cases has a lot to do with your name. When we call somebody Ngozi, blessings, that goes with your name because name is something that the Igbos take very seriously. That's why we have a ceremony for it. When you are born, you are given a name out of happiness, out of what God has done for the family. They give you a name. Even some people have names that based on in terms of difficulties, and the parents are able to come out of it. They give a name to reflect that. Those are some of the things that we do to project and to preserve the Igbo culture. So this year's event, like Brad Sydney have said, is going to be from August 11 to August 12, that Friday and Saturday. It's going to be a lot of people coming to be with us that day. The first day, on the Friday morning, we will try as much as possible to be at the main the location of the Igbo landing, and then there will be some other program. But it's going to be a whole 2 days of entertainment, performance, Igbo dance, traditional dances, and so much that will be going on. Thank
Wow,
you.
that's gonna be incredible, incredible. Mr.
It will be
Davis?
incredible. It'll be very entertaining. You're gonna have some Igbo dancers. You're gonna have some traditional Igbo war dancers. These are men that will do the war dance. You're gonna have Igbo food. And you're going to see some fantastic display of Igbo attire. You're going to have a kaleidoscope of Igbo culture being displayed. And not only are we going to experience the dance and shouting of Igbos from the motherland. But we're also going to be featuring the dance and shouting of the Gulagichi ring shouters. They're going to be
Okay.
there to
Okay.
perform because the connection between Igbos and Gula Geechee is that many of the Gula Geechee are descendant of Igbos. And they've managed to preserve much of their Igbo history and heritage in song and in dance. And we're going to witness that. And so this is very significant because what it is displaying and what it's intending to indicate is that we are finally making the reconnection. Africans with Black Americans, we're making that reconnection that has taken place as a result of the slave trade, that has resulted as because of the distance. And this is a reconnection that has taken place. It's been stated by some academicians, by some historians, that at least 60% of African Americans have Igbo descent. You know, when Africa was colonized during the slave trade, you had different nations that were taking Africans to different parts of the world. You had the Portuguese taking Africans to Brazil. In other parts of South America, you had the Spanish taking Africans to, you know, their possessions in the Caribbean and in some parts of the United States. But the English, they got most of their Africans from the Gold Coast, from the Slave Coast, which would include what we call Nigeria today. And many of those were taken from that place to the eastern border of the United States. From Maryland all the way down to Florida, that is the territory where all these Igbos were distributed. And there was a large population of Igbos in these places on plantations. And you know, it's interesting that when Igbos come from Nigeria today, those are the very same places where you find them living. You have a very large Igbo community from Africa living in Maryland. You have a very large community of Igbos living in Virginia. And so you find that, interestingly, that you have a lot of Igbos from Africa who have immigrated to the United States, and they find them in large numbers on the eastern seaboard. And that is where you also find a large number of those who are descendant of those Igbos who were taken from Igbo land during the slave trade. Now, they have a saying in the Igbo land. It's like the one drop rule. If you have one drop of Igbo blood in you, you are 100% Igbo.
Wow. Okay.
You know, the likelihood that even you, Yolanda, might have some Igbo heritage in you, if you're from the eastern border of the United States, it's very likely you just might have some Igbo in you. It's very likely that you have some Igbo. You should do your DNA and find that out.
Well, I did do my DNA, and I know the Conga area for sure, around that area. Because I got a mixture because my mother is from Nicaragua, so we have a lot of the indigenous over there. So, which I'm sure slaves got, you know, the Spanish took some slaves over there, and then my dad, African American, and that's where I see a lot of the African side, the Conga and all that. But they're from Texas and that area, so I don't particularly know, but I know I don't know the tribe. I don't know much about it, but I'm curious now. I'm ready to find out a lot more, you know, about who I am and where I'm from.
Yes. Anyway, this is symbolic. This what we're doing is symbolic because it's symbolic of the reconnection between African Americans and Africa.
Hmm.
Even though it is billed as an Igbo um, festival, when you go scientifically and you look at the evidence on the ground, the out of Africa migration began in the area that we call Igbo land, and it was called the Bantu migration, and then it expanded to the whole world. Everybody in the world, has African DNA. Did you know that?
No, I didn't
You
know
know
that.
that is a scientific fact. That's a
Oh,
scientific fact. Everybody on this planet has African DNA in their genetics because the human migration came out of Africa. Mankind migration came out of Africa, and the migration within Africa started in West Africa. So it has a great meaning to anyone who has any African DNA,
hmm.
um, making that reconnection. And this is what it symbolizes. This symbolizes the reconnection that African Africa is making with Black Americans, not only in the United States but throughout the diaspora.
Do you think this is a significant time because, it seems that we're a little bit lost, with so much is going on, especially with the African American race, so much violence, so much black on black. Do you think it's a perfect time to start to reconnect with who we are and where we're from and how like we're related. We're not just over here and over there, even if it's different tribes, but do you think it's a way to at least, teach our young folks how the significance of where we're from?
Well, I think
Yes,
so. I think so. Mr. President, you got something to say about that?
yeah. What I wanted to say very quickly, and then we can give Jessica time to say something. Um, this is a matter of identity, understanding exactly who we are as a people, as an Igbo nation. I mentioned earlier what name means to us is a matter of an identity. The fact that we are gathering at Igbo landing is also a way to tell the young folks today. It represents number one is strength, because those people that got together and decided to overpower their slave masters, they had that's how Igbos always have ourselves in common. We always, wherever we are, whenever we come together, it doesn't matter whether we are from the same biological mother or father, but the moment we speak that language and understand one another, we are brothers and we are sisters.
Mhm.
So that's one thing that this will be telling, especially our young folks. Number one, number two, that yes, you cannot allow somebody to take kind of enslave you or stamp all over you. Always stand up for your right, but let it be the positive one and the
Mhm.
fight for it all the time. Don't give up. That's exactly what our ancestors did, and that's what we want to tell our young folks. Whatever you're doing to stand up for your right, let it be positive, and always remember when two, three of you gather, you may not be from the same parents, but you are all brothers and sisters.
If I will,
Absolutely.
Miss Neely, if I will elaborate on what President James just said, that's where I come into play with
Mhm.
all of this. Just picking up that baton that the elders are passing down to us to inform the generations that we do matter, that we stand up when we unite together, as well as being a descendant of Igbo. I haven't done my ancestry.com just yet, but they've already adopted me because
Okay.
of my participation in this event. But just so that our descent to be a descendant, so that our ancestors, what they did was not in vain. They went
Right.
chanting into that ocean, saying the spirit water brought us, the spirit water would take us home. They went in with the faith of knowing that what we are doing today may not be for us, but it's not in vain. It's for our people that we are feeling. So for me to be a part of the younger generation who is excited and ready to pick up that baton. It's just an honor and a pleasure to be a part of everything. So that's where I come in as that. And I also wanted to inform that along with all of the performances that they're going to have in entertainment, we have vendors as well. If there are any vendors out there that are still interested, they have time to still sign up for this event. There is a fee, but we have a link for that as well. And any people who want to just volunteer and just be a part of the day, I actually got some calls from people saying, "Hey, I heard about the event, and I just want to be a part of it." So if there's anyone interested, that link has my information as well, and they can just be a part of the day, join the festivities. I encourage everyone to come.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us again all the dates and the times that because I really, really, that's why I wanted to do this podcast and I wanted, visually, hopefully we all share it on our social media platforms so people will know that this is happening. And especially right here in this community, this is huge. When you sent me the flyer, I was like, wow, this is happening here. Oh my goodness, So the dates and the times.
Well, it's going to
The
be
day,
that Friday and Saturday, August
Mhm.
11th and 12th. And the festival itself is going to begin at 10 because they'll be out there early as 8:30, 8 o'clock in the morning. But they are going to take a tour to Igbo land about 9 a.m. So the festival and the programming should begin at 10.
Okay. Okay. You have a website there or follow you on Facebook that people can find out more information and follow you because social media is a thing now.
Yes, ma'am. We do have a link tree, and I can send that to you as well to be posted. And the link tree has everything. It has a Wikipedia of the current king. It has the CISA website and all of the updates of what's going on in Nigeria. They have a Nigeria newsletter. It shows you some of the dances, just many various pictures, everything that CISA stands for. I encourage them to, and it also has the vendor sign up and the volunteer link that I was talking about. So I highly encourage them to visit that link, click on it, and see all that we have to offer.
Jessica, let me ask you something. As a young person, what motivated you to be a part of this?
You know what? Honestly, they are helping me to understand my purpose. When you're young and they ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? You can come up with all of these random career paths that you think you want to choose. And then as you become an adult, nothing seems to feel right. You're always looking for what is your passion, what drives you, what motivates you. That's what you want to be your career because you want to like your job. You want to get up every morning and be excited about the day. And it just seems like nothing ever really just stuck with me. I feel like I was very a talented person that I could do many of things, but nothing else was just passionate to me. But my history and learning who I am, knowing what's around me, where I came from, has always intrigued me ever since I was a child. I was the one that won all the Martin Luther King drawing competitions. Anything that had to do with history, I wasn't afraid to challenge my history teachers or learn more. So to and that also is what driven me to help with the Juneteenth festival here in Brunswick. So just
Mhm.
to meet Mr. Davis, meet President James, and to know the message that they're trying to pass through, I feel like it's my right. I feel like it's my purpose. It feels right. They didn't have to persuade me or ask me too much to be involved. I was intrigued and just wanting to. I feel like, again, as a descendant, it's my right to pick up where the ancestors left off at. I have children of my own, two kids, and they're growing up, and it's things that I need to teach them about who we are, where we come from. As a child, I used to speak very fast, and my mother would always correct me and say, just slow down, pronunciate. And I would get so frustrated because I'm like, this is how I talk. And I wish that somebody could explain to me, you're Gullah, you're Geechee. You're
Mhm.
speaking this language for a reason. You're speaking fast and you're saying over there, and them churn. You're talking like this for a reason. It's not because you're uneducated or your country or you just need to talk proper English. That's who you are. That's
Mhm.
where you came from. It was
Mhm.
natural to me. So I think that if I can better teach my children why they do certain things they do, why they think the way they are, I'm fearless. Like he said, I don't let anybody tell me what I cannot do. I don't limit myself at all. Anything I put my mind to, I feel like I can do it. So that's why I believe without this ancestry.com, whether it says I am or not, I believe I am Igbo because I was just built with this fire in me. But I wish that if somebody could explain to me that, hey, you are an Igbo descendant, that fire in you came naturally, maybe I would have been able to, contain it better, control it better. So I just want to be a guideline for all youth to know who they are. And this is why you think this way. This is why you act this way. This is why you feel this way. And maybe it'll help them better with their upbringing.
Absolutely. I mean, because I'm gonna be honest, I hadn't heard of this before, and I was kind of like, why don't I know that? First of all, I grew up in New York, didn't know. So now that I'm down here, down south, I'm starting. I learned about the Geechee, Gullah Geechee when I lived in Savannah, and I attended some of their festivals and things like that. So I'm being, even as old as I am, I'm being exposed. I'm
Well,
still
to
learning.
touch on what you just said, when you said that you're from New York, see, that right there intrigued me because it made me wonder, why are some people from New York? Why are they from Chicago? Why are they from the northern states? And I'm still here in Darien, Georgia. I questioned those things. And then I find out, after the slave trade and Jim Crow and segregation, and even after Juneteenth, when the slaves were emancipated, a lot of people migrated north for a better life. They wanted to move north so that they can start over and do better for their people. Well, the people that stayed here, some of those descendants, they worked for their land. They worked for their acres to pass down to their children. They raised them here. They started schools and businesses and jobs here. And so that makes sense as to why are we still here? Why haven't I lived in New York or California? Because my ancestors decided to stay here and we were raised here. So those answer a lot of questions as to my reasons of being here and my purpose, and why are you from New York but then you migrated to Savannah. Those answer those questions for us because we know where we are from and who we are.
Absolutely. I've never heard it put like that, but you just educated me, Jessica. I'm serious because you're absolutely right. And as I've been living down in between Savannah and here in the Brunswick, Georgia area, and I see our people with all this land and all these things that the legacy, some don't have it anymore. And I understand what has happened along the way. But the fact that all of this has been, that's a great inheritance for you and legacy.
You
And
say that, and I think a lot of people don't realize that. See, that makes, I think that should wake people up to do their own history of their bloodline, because you do have land. We have a lot of delinquent tax sales here where the city is buying up land because we don't even pay our taxes on something that belongs to us. We look at it as something very small, but land is valuable. So it just opens your eyes once again to what's going on around you. And then with social study and history deceasing as a subject in school, if you go to the schools, that criteria is really not mandatory anymore. They are trying to seize history as a subject to keep us from knowing these things.
say
As a
that.
woman of your age, you don't know. And so it's important that we keep telling the youth what's going on, encourage them, educate them, know who you are, take your stand. Don't wait for somebody to give you that position. You was born to be in that position.
Hmm. When I was growing up in New York, when in high school, African American studies was an elective. It wasn't mandatory. And I took it because I wanted to learn. I knew a lot about my Hispanic side, but I wanted to know more about my African American side because my dad's family was very small and he died young and I didn't really know. So, and I had one aunt and she was in her 90s when I finally had a chance to sit down and talk to her. And believe it or not, she was living in Wyoming. Of all places, Wyoming, Laramie, Wyoming. But she kind of brought who I am together. You know what I'm saying? It was like I learned so much as she told me about her travels from Texas and, to Kansas City and to all of that, and left us land and oil wells. And back in those days, those people believed in land. They believed in legacy and believed in it. We've lost a lot throughout the generations. So, like I said, I'm very intrigued about this festival as well. So it is so awesome that you guys are bringing it here, the history.
Yeah, if I may add to what Jessica said already about passing batons, this is also a generational issue because um, today in US, in America here, we have a lot of immigrants from Nigeria, from Africa, and I want to concentrate mainly on education. So the value that we put on education is overwhelming. And when we come into this with our fellow brothers and sisters, the African Americans, we want to come together. We want to let everybody know that we need to get into that education because without it, we are always backwards and behind.
Mm, say that.
So we need to, when you see a Nigerian immigrant with the children that are born here, you know, in partnership, working with African Americans, understanding that they are Igbos by descendants, it goes a long way in that building of that Igbo nation. Like Jessica said, a lot of people do not want that to happen because once you begin to realize who you are and you can stand up for yourself, you can fight for what belongs to you, then some people are going to get less than what they have.
Mm,
And you're going to get more of what you don't have.
mm. Wow. That's very powerful. And that's what's happening.
Yes.
That's exactly
Yes,
what's happening.
that's right. So, everyone is going to be enriched and they're going to be fascinated. This is not just for Black Americans, it's not just for Black people, it's for the entire community because we want everyone to know who we are. We not only do we need to know who we are, everybody needs to know who we are and what the stuff that we're made from, what we were before we came here, and what so much that we have within us is still remaining from what we will see displayed in that festival. The Igbos have a very fierce tradition of independence. They have a very fierce tradition of justice. This is ancient. The Igbos were the ones who birthed the idea of democracy. It wasn't the Greeks. We think that democracy was something that came from the Greeks. And that's because we're taught Western civilization when we go to school. We're not taught African civilization. But if we were taught about African civilization, one of the things that you would learn is that the idea of democracy was something that was always a part of Igbo tradition. To today, they have a very fierce sense of being republic in their form of government, representative in their form of government, egalitarian. The men and women, they're egalitarian. The women have power and the men have power. They have cooperative power. And we also have a very strong tradition of treating each person with respect, regardless of your religion, regardless of your ideology. We believe in Igbo tradition of treating everyone with dignity and respect. And this is a very, very strong part of Igbo culture, Igbo cosmology, Igbo spirituality. And one of the things that you're going to experience when you come to this festival is the love that you're going to experience from those who are Igbos. And the welcoming, the spirit of welcome, the spirit of fellowship, the spirit of coming together is going to be very strong. And it's going to be so strong that you're going to want to go there. You're going to want to experience going there and seeing it firsthand. And that's the reason why we're going to have opportunities for people to sign up to go to Igbo land. We're going to have opportunities for people to sign up to find out their DNA. We're going to have tables and presentations that will give people that information. And if you are there to behold the naming ceremony, that is going to really inspire you. It's something that is so majestic, so inspiring, so moving. I've seen people driven to tears because of the emotion that comes from seeing that thing happen and to actually experience the reconnection. It's all about reconnection. And that's the reason why we're having this worldwide festival, is because we want to reconnect to our ancestry. We want to reconnect to our culture. We want to reconnect to our heritage. We want to reconnect to our spirituality. And, it's amazing the effect that this would have on little children when they understand where they come from and who they are. This gives them so much inspiration from which they could use as a springboard to do anything they want in life.
Wow, this is going to be amazing. Amazing. I am so glad you guys took time to, speak with me. And let's get the word out as much as possible so that we here in the Golden Isles area, Brunswick, St. Simons, wherever, come out and support Ibu. I think this is going to be phenomenal. And I have a lot going on that weekend, but I will definitely be there on that Friday for sure. I got baby showers and stuff to go Saturday, but I will definitely be there on Friday because I just want to be a part. I just want to see this. So I'm looking forward. So
Well,
exactly where is Ibu
we're
Land?
hoping everyone comes out.
Exactly.
We're
So
hoping
exactly where is
everyone
Ibu
comes out
Land?
and you're all welcome.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Dunbar's
Absolutely.
Creek in St. Simon's Island, Dunbar's Creek, and if you Google, are you talking about Igbo land in Nigeria?
No, here. I mean here, so
Okay,
people know
so
where to
here,
go.
Dunbar Creek, St. Simon's Island, and if you Google Igbo landing, IGBO landing, it
Hmm.
will give you a map of it as well online, but
Okay.
it'll tell you where Dunbar's Creek is.
Okay. Cool. That's awesome. So I just want to just we had lost. Okay, we're gonna add him right back. Here go
Uh,
President
uh,
James. There you go.
I'm back.
Yes, you are, sir. Yes, you are. But I definitely appreciate each one of you taking time to you know hook up and talk about this. So, any parting words, President James?
Oh, I just want to thank you, Yolanda, for all the good work that you're doing in the community, and thank you so much for having us. You are part of us. You are one of us. So please spread the word. And
Absolutely.
we always say for the Igbo nation all over the world, it's one people, one destiny, and we are all one. And that forms our peace. That forms everything good about us.
He said,
It's
Oh,
that's
that's
our
the
way of
language.
saying, that's our way of saying amen. He said,
Okay.
yes. So yeah, I just want to say that I have this is a Facebook page called the Evil Landing Project. You
Hmm.
will find a lot of information there as well.
Okay. Evil Landing Project. And Jessica, any parting
That
words?
I just want to say thank you guys. I do want to say to all of the young people that's out there, do not be afraid to pick up that baton. Degrees are great, diplomas you need, yes, but all you need is a dream to get started. And don't be afraid. Just find an elder, take a liking to them, listen, be open and optimistic to them. And as well as the elders, I will say this, elders, when you pass the baton, you got to let it go.
Mm,
When you pass the baton, you have to let it go. Allow the young people to be themselves and do what they think is best as well, because they do have opinions, they do have a voice. And if you want us to be able to join forces with you, you have to accept us as well. So you can educate us, but don't change us. But thank you so much, Ms. Neely, for this platform. Thank you, President James. Thank you, Mr. Davis, for all you guys are doing, for allowing me to pick up that baton and do what I do. And it's just been a pleasure. It's an honor.
absolutely. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Absolutely. Evil Landing. Guys, don't miss it.
Remember Ibu landing? They walked into the sea until the last man standing. Their cry, we must be free from Africa, their homeland, across the ocean wide. In chains you hear them moaning, in pain as many die. Remember Ibu landing, where Africans rebel, freedom they're demanding, won't live their lives in hell. St. Simon's island, Georgia, their final resting place, to end the constant torture. This inhumane disgrace, but spirits can't be broken from the strong and brave. These Africans would rather die than live their lives as slaves. Along the Georgia shore, with bravery, great courage, they marched to heaven's door. Remember Ibulandi, know where our heroes died. This history is sacred. Remember them with pride. Magical, their power, it soars above the sky, where angels call to paradise. Behold, as free men fly.